out there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is Dr. Janice Fortman with Relationship Matters TV. Hope everyone is having a beautifully blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. And let me fix this. I don't like the way that looks. Oh, well, guess I have to keep it like that. Well, this is what I want to say to you today. Happy Valentine's Day. That is tomorrow. But I hope that you have a beautiful, happy Valentine's Day. Okay. What? Oh, and I'm all decked out in my red. I have my Valentine's Day earrings on. And I have on my red. And I'm starting today to celebrate Valentine's Day. So, what are we going to talk about today? Love. We are going to talk about love. Well, let me say a couple of things to you. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Now, more than one question. Can you recall a moment when someone made you feel truly loved? What did they do? Or what did they say? Or have you ever felt deeply loved by someone, but at other times felt completely disconnected, like they just don't get you? So the reason might not be lack of love, but a difference in how you communicate with each other. So I have Dr. Gary Chapman's book, and probably a lot of you out there have his book, and it's called The 5 Love Languages. And it helps you to discover that people express and receive love in different ways. So understanding your love language and the love language of that person that's closest to you, your spouse, your significant other, that can transform your relationships. So you have to kind of know what your love language is and what that other person's love language is. So I'm going to ask you these questions before I just get into it. And I want you to think about it. What makes you feel deeply loved and appreciated? No, that's number one. Number two, when you feel hurt in a relationship, what do you feel is missing? Why do you feel hurt? Number three, how do you naturally express love to others? So how do you do it? Number four, think of a time when you felt incredibly loved. What happened? And what's your love language? Do you know it? And how do we know what our love language is? So, in other words, we're going to really delve into how do we master the art of love. And we're going to do this by exploring the 5 love languages and some real examples of each and how to identify your primary love language. So let's go into the first one. And what I would like you to do in the chat is tell me what you think your love language is. And if you have a partner, significant other, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, what do you think their love language is? So I want you, please, to put it in the chat. So let's start with the first one. The first one is words of affirmation. All righty. So let's see. It's a comment. So Maxine Walker says, hello, everyone. Today is Galentine's Day. What's Galentine? What's the difference in Valentine and Galentine? I know, but Max, put it in the chat so other people will know, because there are viewers who are from that are not from the United States. You know, they're from Europe, African, wherever, Africa, wherever. So let them know what Galentine is. So let's start with words of affirmation. Now, the definition, that is when people who feel most love when they receive verbal encouragement or appreciation and kind words. And when they get this verbal affirmations, it lifts them up and it elevates their spirit. An example could be, let's take a husband and wife situation. And when he says, I appreciate how hard you work for the family. That's an affirmation, a verbal affirmation. Or saying, I love you often, but sincerely. Or just saying things like, your love and support mean the world to me. Thank you for being an amazing wife. Thank you for being, or thank you for being an amazing husband or amazing partner. It can also be, uh, your smile brightens my day. So think about it. If you say something like that and they may be frowning or just have a bland look on their face, you watch. If you say something like that, your smile brightens my day. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get a smile. And if it's a little smile, you're going to get a big smile. This one I really like, for um, couples. If And this is an example. I'm grateful for your patience, especially when I'm not at my best. Think about the times when you're not at your best and how you would like to hear something like that. Or even saying something like, thank you for loving me unconditionally. That's a good one. That's a good one. So, you know, how do you feel if you get these words of affirmation? And how can you show it to the person who you know has, that's their love language? Compliment them sincerely and often. Sometimes you can leave a little note or even text them, since we're in the texting stage, or text them something, sweet and encouraging. When you see them doing something, verbalize and recognize their efforts. Uh, and like I said, little sweet notes or something like that. And what do women like? Complimenting their appearance. Women always want to hear, you look good, you look sexy, I like the way you look in that dress. Um, we had dinner, we went out on a date, and you looked amazing. So I'm going to ask you, do you feel deeply appreciated when someone tells you how much they value you? Hmm? Think about it. Think about it. Is that your love language? So let me look and see. Oh, okay. Maxine answered my question. She said Galentine is girlfriends. Right. Girlfriends. That is Galentine. G, that's with the G. Okay. So is that your love language? So that's the first one. What is the second one? Acts of service. Actions, for some people, actions speak louder than words. These are people, individuals who see acts of service. That's their love language. They feel loved when others do helpful things for them. And they feel most loved when others help them in meaningful ways. So is that you? Do you feel most loved when someone helps you without being asked? So let's examples. Let's take a husband and wife, and a husband makes coffee for his wife in the morning. She didn't even ask. Or she does the same thing. He didn't even ask. Or preparing one of the other's favorite meal after a long day. Or running errands, or handling responsibilities that they don't want to do, that they dislike. Filling up their car with gas without them asking. Do small tasks that make their life easier. And that's kind of like anticipating their needs and help without being asked. Okay. Maybe he or she doesn't like taking out the trash or certain household chores. So is that you? Is that your love language, acts of service? Or is that your significant other's love language? Have you noticed that? Their words really don't mean anything to them. It's actions. Think about it. And the third one is receiving gifts. Now, it's not about materialism, because sometimes when you hear that, well, this person likes to receive gifts, you start thinking about giving them something material. It can be that, but most of the time, it's the feelings behind that. It's all about being thoughtful. And a meaningful gift usually shows love and care for these particular people, if that is their love language, because they look at the thoughtfulness behind it, they look at the effort that it might have taken, and they look at that more than the price tag, because the gift usually represents love, care, and appreciation. So in other words, it can be, what can I say? It can be anything. It can be um, something sweet. Maybe they have a sweet tooth. It could be something sweet. Uh, it doesn't have to be like a big car. It doesn't have to be diamonds. It doesn't have to be, and I'm speaking from a female point of view, of course. For men, I guess it doesn't have to be anything big and huge or anything like that. It can be something really, really small. It can be a rose. So it can be a cheap anything. So in other words, it doesn't have to be, when people say, I love getting gifts, it doesn't necessarily have to be something material. This is what I mean. It can be a poem that they thought of. So in other words, I'm going to give you some examples. Um, when I said a rose, it could be a rose. It doesn't even have to be a rose. It could be a plant. Um, it can be a handwritten letter. We don't do that anymore. um, anything. And if it is material, it could be a personalized piece of jewelry, a book, anything. So as I said, it's the thought behind it. It's what it is a thoughtful and meaningful gift. And if you are that person, or you know that person, or that person is in your life, and you know they like gifts, so to speak, it has to be something that's thoughtful and meaningful to them. Just it can be any small token of appreciation. Also, on birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions, this particular person whose love language is gift, receiving gifts, who, if it's male or female, do not forget those special occasions. So what it is, you have to pay attention to what they like and surprise them with meaningful gifts. It could be a handmade gift, just a thoughtful surprise, but it's giving a gift that's meaningful. Is that your love language? Is that your significant other's love language? Let's see. Now, Sandy Barney Ennis says, when I was down, my husband did it all. Ooh, I honestly don't believe anyone else would have made me feel as if I weren't a burden. He cooked, cleaned, took me to office visits, and even had to wash and dress me. Then she says, not sure if I could have been that patient had the shoe been on the other foot. But you appreciated that. Okay. Some people would have taken that for granted because they would have said, that's not what I need. I don't need anybody to take care of me. I can take care of myself. I just need them to tell me, I like words of affirmation. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Sandy. So what is your husband's love language? Mm-hmm. Put it in the chat. I really want to know. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. Quality time. Now, what is that? Uninterrupted and focused attention. That is the key to feeling love for people with this love language. In other words, pay attention to me. People with this love language feel most connected when they receive undivided attention and spend meaningful time with others. So how do you feel? Do you feel most love when someone gives you their full attention? An example would be couples going on a date night without distractions, having a conversation without the other person in their phone or watching TV or looking elsewhere. So to show if your spouse or significant other or be fully present in conversations. And we don't see a lot of that today. You see people talking, that one person is talking, the other person has got the phone in their hand looking down. And they look up every now and then. And you can tell when you don't have that person's undivided attention is when they misunderstand what you're saying or ask you, oh, what did you say? And just not paying attention to you. Some people, this is their love language. Pay attention to me. So what do? You set quality time without distractions. And another way is, you're walking together and you're talking together, you're having deep, uninterrupted conversations. If the phone rings, you don't pick it up. Of course, unless, you think it's an emergency, or you look and you can say, hold on a minute, and you look, and it might be an emergency or something like that. But showing your love that way, be fully present, and create special times like date nights. And that date night is when it's just you and that person. You see so many people, you go out to dinner, you see couples, and somebody is on that phone, or they're both on the phone. So why did they go anywhere together? But if you see both of them on the phone, then quality, not time, is not their love language. So what happens? Do you spend quality time? Is that your love language? So I really want you to when I finish with the love languages, put it in the chat what your love language is. Or even if you don't know your love language, how do you find out? I'm giving you some ways that you can find out exactly what your love language is. All right, so now what is the next one? Actually, gosh, I'm going through these pretty fast. The last one is physical touch. Now, physical affection is this person's love language, and it's their primary way of feeling loved and emotionally connected. So how do you feel? Do you feel most loved when you are hugged, or you're holding hands, or just the physical closeness? Because sometimes you see people sitting together, and they're physically close to each other. Sometimes when you're out, you see people, and that person is constantly, kind of maybe caressing or touching, gently touching, or rubbing, gently rubbing them on their back, or and you look, and that's the whole time you see them, always, with showing physical closeness or touching that other person. You know why you see that? Because they know that that person's love language is physical touch. So an example could be, hugs. Some people love to hug. And let's say you come home, or they come home, and you greet each other and you hug. Another one is holding hands while walking. And it's some people just, a high five. It's just physical touching, a pat, hugging for no reason. So the way they show it, or the way they receive it, is physical gestures of affection. However, you got to be mindful of this person's comfort levels, or as far as touching is concerned. But how do you use touch to express care and support? Now, husband and wives, you can hug each other every morning before you go to work. Watching a movie together, sitting close, being physically present in moments of sadness or joy. That can be anything. How do you feel? If you really sad, how do you feel? Do you want someone to hold on to you, to touch you? Or do you just want words of affirmation? Okay. So think about it. What I want you to figure out is what your love language is. Now, it doesn't mean that you are just specifically with this one particular love language, because you can have a combination. Now, so when I read the book, I'm like, let me figure out what my love language is. So I figured it out. So guess I can tell you what it's not. And I'm going to go back over the list. I am not the words of affirmation. That is not my love language. And I think that's because I affirm myself. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't like kind words or, it doesn't mean it's just not my primary one. I mean, everybody likes kind words, you know, everybody likes to be complimented. I love to be complimented, but that's not my love language. In other words, if I don't uh, hear it, it's not going to really bother me that much. What I like now, number 2, acts of service. I'm kind of like that. Acts of service, doing things that I don't expect for me. That's mine. And receiving gifts, those two. Physical touch. Well, no, the fourth one is quality time. Yeah. Um, there are times when I like undivided attention, and of course, the quality time. So, in other words, so what I'm saying to you, physical touch, physical touch is fine sometimes, but I know when my husband and I first got together, he couldn't understand why I was walking and he was holding my hand, and I was like, oh, okay, you know. So what I'm saying is that you can have a combination of all 5, but there is one that is your primary love language. All, when you look at all 5, we need at certain times, maybe all 5, not at the same time, but at different times in our relationships. But what the most important thing here, what I want you to realize is that when you are in a relationship, you should try to be aware of your love language and communicate that to your significant other and be aware of theirs. Sometimes, because we know our love language, we assume that that's the other person's love language. And we do according to what we feel and what we like. And what happens is there's that kind of, I'd say, kind of breach in a sense, in the relationship. So, in other words, everyone experiences love differently. But when you know your love language, it helps you to express your needs. And when you understand the other person's love language, it will deepen your relationship. So, as I said a little bit earlier, we often default to our own love language, but we need to learn to speak the love language of others. So, take some time today tomorrow. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So take some time to think about your love language and the love languages of those closest to you. Start speaking love in a way that they understand and watch your relationships transform. So now what I'm looking for is, okay, Renita says, I have a combination, words of affirmation and touch, with a very close tie with acts of service. Okay. And Sandy Barney Ennis says, Amen. Let them know what's important to you. Yes. And Jacqueline Rogers says, always be interested in the other's growth. Yes, yes, yes. I have heard, and I know you have, you see couples that have divorced, and the man says, but I did this, I put you in a mansion, and I gave you all the money that you wanted, and I struggled, and I worked and worked and worked, and I built this business, and he finds out that the wife is having an affair with the pool guy, or she wants a divorce. And then he doesn't understand, but I did this and I did that and I did the other. And then she says to him, I didn't want any of that. I didn't want the big house. I didn't care about minks and diamonds. That's not what I wanted. And so I've seen that, and I know you probably have too. And Sandy, Sandy says, what's his number? Sandy. But Sandy, if you were sick, he might not take care of you. So there you'll be in this big mansion with all this money, with a mink over you and diamonds, and be sick as a dog. And he's nowhere around. Okay, so here is a question that came in. So the question is, what is the biggest deal breaker regarding special occasions? And this person says, my opinion is forgetting a special day. How do you all feel about that? Forgetting a special day. So this is a part of this person's love language. Don't forget a special day. So that could be a deal breaker. It depends. That could be a deal breaker. A lot of women are like that as far as special days, but then a lot of men are too. So tell me in the chat, what is your biggest deal breaker? What is it that you want and you don't get? And it might not be a deal breaker, but it's just something that you feel that it's just not something that you, I would say, prioritize, or it's something that you really do prioritize and you don't get it. So what is that? What is that? Because a lot of relationships break up because of not being aware at the other person's love language, or being aware and not caring. So put in the chat. I guess, Sandy, yours is gift giving. But no, I'm just saying that. Well, no, acts of service, because you said that earlier. So, Jacqueline and Renita, uh, and let's see who else, Maxine. So, Renita said what her love language is. So, Maxine, Sandy, and Jacqueline. That's who I can see. There are others, but I just don't see their names. What's your love language? I've told you mine. What is your love language? Put it in the chat. Now, there's some other people here, but I can't see their names. But put it in the chat. And some people are on YouTube. So let me see if I see anything here on YouTube or, okay. All righty. Oh, my messages. I don't see anything. Okay. I don't see anything like that. Okay. So what's the key takeaway here? The key takeaway is strengthening your relationships by learning to speak the love language of the people that you care about, not just your own. Pay attention to how others naturally express love, and that's often the clue to their primary love language. Because, as I said earlier, we all express and receive love differently. Knowing your love language helps you to understand what makes you feel loved, and learning the love language of those around you can deepen your relationship. Now, that's all that I have. Sandy. Sandy says her love language is taking me to a real jewelry store. Real jewelry. So that means diamonds and gold, stuff like that. All right, Sandy. I'm mad at you, girl. Uh, who else? Who else? Jacqueline. What is your love language? Maxine. What is your love language? I really, really, really want to know. And others out there, what is your love language? I want you to take the time to think about what your love language is. And your significant other, what is their love language? But guess what? Even in your professional lives, if you have employees, if you have colleagues, what is their love language? If you have children, what is their love language? Your friends, what are their love language? Because when we talk about relationships, because this show is called Relationship Matters, when we talk about relationships, all of this, when we say love, the 5 love languages, sometimes we own, and I focused on, significant others because it's Valentine's Day. But people around you have different love languages. What are they? How can you strengthen the relationships by knowing what their love language is? So Renita says her boss, she says, my boss is clearly acts of service. And she says, I find it challenging because I've never had a boss like this before. So, what I would say to you, Renita, since it's acts of service, watch and see what lights him up, so to speak, what lights his face up. And if you see other people responding to him in the way that he likes, see what it is. So, and I guess that would make you get along better with him, or make him really respond to you in a positive manner, and make him appreciate you more. So anyway, that's about all for me. If it's anything you would like to put in the chat, do it now. I'm going to take a brief commercial break. And when I come back, if I don't see anything else in the chat, then I will know that this has been a valuable tool for you to use to strengthen your relationships. And I don't have the book. Oh, yeah, here's the book. If you really want to delve more deeply into love languages, this, let me, can I show it there? Okay, I'll do it like this so you can kind of see it. Of course, it reads backwards. But anyway, it's the 5 love languages, and it's by Gary Chapman. It's how to express heartfelt commitment to your mate. And so I'm sure probably a lot of you out there already have this book, but it doesn't hurt every now and then to just go over it, not just to think about your love language, but the other person's love language. And I'll say this too before we go. Your love language can change. So it might not necessarily be that you love gift giving all the time, or that you love words of affirmation all the time, or physical touch all the time. Sometimes your love language will change over time, maybe as you get older. So anyway, I just want to thank all of you who have participated. I really appreciate it. And I want you to have a beautiful Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day. But what you can do, put it in the chat. Are you doing anything special? I can tell you what I'm doing. We are going to hear a beautiful, I don't know if you would call her a songstress, but she can not just sing, she can sang, S-A-N-G. That girl sang. Her name is Rhonda Brown, and she's singing with a band on tomorrow night, and she's also celebrating her birthday. So we are going to help her celebrate her birthday, and just watch her perform. If you are my Facebook friends, you can see where I celebrated my birthday with her. Well, of course, with a lot of different people, but we went to see her on my birthday. But she's very good. Her name is Rhonda, Rhonda Brown, Browne. Look her up. So that's all for me as far as Valentine's and Galentine's Day. So have a beautiful, wonderful Valentine's Day. But I'm going to go to a quick commercial. And while I'm at that commercial, when I come back, If you're doing anything special or not, if you put it in the chat. I really, really, really want to know. So here's a quick commercial. All righty. Now, why did I show those commercials? Because I am a relationship communications coach, and my passion is helping adult daughters and their moms navigate the challenges in that relationship. So, if you know someone who really needs just some conversation or some consulting or some coaching, on how to navigate the challenges in their relationship, please give me a call. Or you can give me, you can text me at, let me find it for you. Ooh, where is it? You can text me at Relationship Matters TV at gmail.com. That is Relationship Matters TV at gmail.com. Also, I am getting a course together on relationship and communication. I will give you more information about that as it comes up. And the title of it is Navigating the Challenges in Relationships and the 10 Pitfalls that negatively affect relationships. It's going to be an interactive course, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. So until then, it's Dr. Janice Portman with Relationship Matters TV. Have a beautifully blessed morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. See you next week. Bye bye. And a beautiful Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day tomorrow. Bye bye.